Welcome to The Soul Space, the podcast that inspires you to discover your truth, ignite your passion, and align your life with the power of who you really are. I'm Georgia Rose, psychic astrologer. I share the cosmic roadmap that guided me through astrology, tarot, and inner knowing into authentic living. I'm here to help you decode your soul's cosmic story, reconnect with your passion, and create the life you are meant to live. It all starts within, and it all starts now in the soul space.
You're on.
Oh, I'm on. I'm sorry. I have a delay, so I didn't know I was on.
It's quite all right.
It's Gemini energy.
No,
We've got Uranus and Gemini, guys.
Mhm.
So there it is. That defines it perfectly. So welcome to the Soul Space. I am Georgia Rose, your psychic astrologer. And welcome to the Zenkuda community. For those of you who have never been here before, I am going to you live from Paradise Studio, from Strong Island Studio. And if you are thinking about doing a podcast, you should check us out on Facebook because Bobby Lassara, my producer, has a podcast school, which is amazing. I have been in it the last 3 weeks. This Saturday is my last week, and it has been really amazing. So that's my plug for today. So tonight we're going to talk about Gemini energy, Uranus going into Gemini, which ended a 7-year run in Taurus, and now it is going to spend 7 years in Gemini, which is until 2023, early 2034. So get ready for a ride through that. We're going to talk about what that energy is like tonight. And we're also going to talk about what that energy is for each sign. So if you know your rising sign, that's usually the best way, but we could also do sun signs. But you guys know, we take ourselves way too seriously. And you know, especially in this energy, we're taking ourselves way too seriously. So we start every program with a cosmic comedy. It's time for Cosmic Comedy, where Mercury retrograde is the main character, the lunations are loony, and the stars are a punchline.
Good morrow. Happy Astro update. Happy Sunday. Let's do a quick Astro update. Uranus is officially in Gemini. And while Venus is as well for the next 3 weeks or so, that's giving a lot of adventure. It's giving a lot of thoughterry. It's giving a lot of randomness. Uranus being in Gemini is giving what the actual fuck. It's a lot of review of the last 7 years or so. And again, what the actual fuck. So if you're in your feelings, if you're feeling weird, if you're just a bit down, that's understandable, okay? You don't break a cycle by just letting that shit go. You fucking process it, especially in the Gemini sign where literally everything is overanalyzed. So go with the flow. That's the best thing you can do with Uranus being in Gemini right now. No, it's not going to be the way it was with Taurus. So you're not going to be feeling stuck. You're going to be feeling more overwhelmed. You're going to be feeling strange. You might be doing 20 new things by the end of the day. Reinvent yourself. That's okay. That's Gemini. Remember, very mutable sign. Go.
So that is the best way I can describe Gemini energy. And I feel a little all over the place tonight. So you guys will help me with your comments and everything. Going to say hi to Sarah and Joanna, and Trisha's on. Joanna, we have to talk because I got to give you a date of when we can get you on the show, and we can do that remotely. So don't worry about coming here to Long Island. So the first thing I'm going to do tonight for our show is to set the energy. I am going to draw 3 cards for tonight's show, maybe a 4th if I need a confirmation card. So we're going to go to our tarot, these beautiful tarot cards that I have been working with for over 20 years. I'm going to cut the deck. And the first card that I'm going to pick is going to be, here we are. Very famous hand for those of you who know. That is, can you tell? Gemini energy. Gemini energy is here tonight. Can you tell? Okay. So let's pick some cards. I feel like this is such a homemade show tonight, and we have all this equipment, all this stuff around. So, love this card for Gemini energy. The 4 of Cups came out. And the 4 of Cups, guys, is a energy of, I think you can probably see it better on camera this way. I don't know. What do you think, Bobby? I'm driving him crazy today. There we go. So 4 of Cups is the picture of the gentleman He is sitting under a tree and he has 3 cups on the ground, and there's a hand coming out with a cup. And that hand is actually symbolic of God's hand or a higher power's hand. So that I didn't tell Bobby I was doing cards tonight. So here we are. So this is a very famous card. So it's symbolic of a lot of choices. There's cups on the grounds that have been either refused or used. And then you have this one cup coming out and being handed to this person. But they're looking down at the cups that have been discarded. And it's very symbolic of really the Aries energy that's in play right now and also the Gemini energy in play, because it is multiplicity. We have a lot of different choices. The cups represent choices and abundance. And yet a lot of times in our life, instead of looking up and seeing the opportunity, we have a tendency to be looking at the past or looking down at what we've missed. And this is an energy of something is being offered to us, a gift of abundance from above, but we have to be in the energy of optimism in order to see it. And I think this is very symbolic of energy with Uranian energy, because Uranus is the great awakener. And so this is awakening to a beautiful optimism coming in. The next card I'm going to pick is the 7 of Swords. The 7 of Swords is a card that is, I call almost like the sneaky Pete card. It's the card that tells us that there could be a thief in the night, to watch out for something, to be very aware of our surroundings and really look at the details of things before we make decisions. And that's also very symbolic of the energy of Uranus, because Uranus can bring sudden, shocking change, and we really want to make sure that we are not being impulsive, Aries energy. The third card I'm going to pick is the 3 of Cups. The 3 of Cups is a beautiful card for this energy, because the 3 of Cups is symbolic of 3, the Trinity. It's symbolic of teaching and learning and wisdom, and Uranus as the Great Awakener would be bringing us wisdom. So if I really told the story about these 3 cards, what I would be saying would be, I would be saying that we have a card here that is giving us choices from above. So we really need to be aware and watch out and scrutinize what's coming in our life. Be aware of the energy that's in our field, because there is great promise there. And there's also some really golden opportunities that we're going to get. And then we have the 7 of Swords, which is definitely an energy of be careful, tread carefully. It might not be time to strike. You want to be really quiet. And that's also symbolic of me, of when we set goals or have dreams. I always say, tell no one your dreams, tell no one your goals, because, you know, people can put negative energy on that. And then the 3 of Cups also brings us abundance in thought and deed and the wisdom that's going to be coming in for us. So I am recording this show on April 27th, 2026. And the reason I'm giving the date is because a lot of the energy that I'm talking about is very futuristic, and you're going to be able to really come back to this show time and again to think about what we discussed. And you'll hear me talking about Uranus and Gemini quite a lot over the next 7 years. But let's open up by talking about this energy. Uranus just went into Gemini on Sunday. So you may have felt the shift, you may not. This is a long-term transit. But one of the things I do want to bring to your attention is, why do I do astrology? Astrology has taught me so much about my life and so much about my soul's path and why I do the things I do. It also gives me timing with events and when to do certain things. But also the astrology for me has really opened me up to what goes on in the world and the energy there. And when Donald Trump was had that assassination attempt happen the other night, Uranus had just gone into Gemini. Donald Trump is a Gemini. He's a Gemini sun. And so this energy was actually in his personal natal chart, that Uranus at 0 degree of Gemini, just went into Gemini along with Venus, was opposing his ascendant and opposing his Mars. If he had hired an astrologer to work with him, the astrologer would have told him not to go to that dinner, because that transit, that setup in one's chart is very perilous energy. So that happened at exactly that moment. It was so crazy. It was also squaring his natal Uranus. So to have that incident happen in the sky that was in his natal chart was uncanny. Happened around, I don't know, sometime Saturday evening. And my phone started pinging like crazy, because I'm in an astrology group with astrologers from all over the world, and we're all in different time zones. So they all saw this happen, and they started like immediately commenting in our group. And we were putting up the charts and really looking. It was kind of fun, even though it was not a good incident that happened. It was, the outcome was good, of course. But that's one of the reasons why you can see astrology in action. And you can actually see astrology happening out in the world if you know what to look for. Now, drill that down into your own microcosm. When you come to me for a reading, and most of the people that come to me will come to me every 6 months or twice a year or 3 times a year or so, or when something's happening in their life they really need an explanation about, because astrology will show you your roadmap. Astrology, especially with an evolutionary astrologer like I am, I can look at your chart and we can say what's going to be happening over the next year, when the best time to start a new venture is, when the best time to travel is, when the best time is to put yourself out there for a relationship, what's going on in the relationship you have now. So if you need a private reading, you can book one on zencuda.com, CENCUDA, and just come and see me and we'll talk about everything that's going on and I'll tell you what to expect. Also, it's going to tell you about the turning points in your chart, because I'm watching massive major global turning points happen, and they're also happening in our own personal charts in some way. So definitely book a reading. My readings are usually done through Zoom. You get the video of that reading afterwards and a transcript, so you can refer to it time and time again. So that's enough said about astrology in general. So the archetype of Uranus in Gemini, what is the energy? What does it really feel like? Like, what is it going to be like over the next 7 years? Well, what I can tell you is that right now in the sky, we have a lot of Aries energy. We have like 4 or 5 planets in Aries. We've got planets in Taurus that were recently in Aries. And we have the Gemini energy. So if I was looking at a chart and I had to sum up in like one sentence what all 3 of those energies mean, Aries is going to ask us, and has been asking us now for a while, do I have the right to be here? Aries is where you want to take up space. It's where you want to be seen. Here I am here. Like, I do this podcast and this is where I take up space. And this is, I am here, see me. Taurus is, can what I love survive? And that's why these past 7 years, when Uranus was in Taurus for those 7 years, we had a lot of things come up about survival, about preservation. We went through the COVID thing, all that. And we also had a lot of things come up in our personal lives about personal safety and what makes us feel safe, what isn't really safe. And those things have come to a head. And then Gemini energy is, can all of me be known? Because Gemini energy is all about the duplicity, the multiplicity. 2 things can be true. You know, people will say, oh, I'm a Gemini, I'm scattered. You're not scattered. You're just super curious about a lot of different things. So Aries protects our existence. Aries is, I am here, I am alive, I want to emerge and take up space. Taurus protects our values. It's ruled by Venus, the planet of love and meaningful things. So when we had those 7 years of Uranus in Taurus, it was all about protecting what was most valuable to us and running those self-preservation mechanisms that protect things. You know, we've even seen that with our country, right? Everyone's defending their country. And then now Gemini energy protects our multiplicity. It protects the fact that 2 things can be true. It protects, like, well, someone's only seeing one side of me. I want to be seen every side of me, and I want to be embraced and accepted. So the next 7 years, we're going to go through a lot of stuff about that. Gemini is curious. It processes information by holding many truths. It looks like, you know, think about a journalist who reports on things. They go out and they interview everyone and they decide, you know, what they're going to put in their article because they research what really is true and what the facts are. And sometimes that article or that, you know, video contains a lot of different information. That's Gemini energy. It's curious and it processes information by holding many truths. It compares perspectives. I guarantee you the perspectives that you have today in 2026 are not going to be the perspectives that you have in 2034. They're really going to change, guys, because we're going to allow truth in. And this is also becoming in relationship with more than one truth, accepting what someone else thinks, right? So it's a very complex energy. At first, it's kind of hard to understand. But Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is our communication, our thought process, the way we process our perspectives, the way we come into relying and landing on a certain idealism. whether you have a religion, maybe you're Catholic or maybe you're Buddhist, and you somehow landed on that to be your personal truth after much information was given to you, after you were curious, after you gathered facts. That's how Gemini works, ruled by Mercury. So we're going to see shifts in language, shifts in media. We're already seeing that with AI, right? And social platforms. You're going to see social platforms really change. And you're also going to see sudden changes to our alliances, our friendships, and our networks. And we're seeing that every day with these Iran conflicts, with Ukraine, with the way the EU is functioning, even with things in our own country. People's friendships and networks and alliances are really, really changing. But the most important thing that we're going to feel in this is Uranus is electricity. It's sudden, shocking events. It's like lightning in the room. You're in a room and there's a thunderstorm and the power goes out. You're sitting in the dark. And then Uranus comes in and it's like lightning. And all of a sudden in that moment, the room lights up and now you're less afraid. You still don't know what's going on. It's unknown. But now you kind of can see a little bit where the furniture is so you don't bump into it. And that's Uranus. It's a great awakener. It shows you where everything is, but you don't really understand the context of it until this transit is over. So in 7 years, the amount of awakening and wisdom you're going to get is going to be unbelievable. But until then, it's going to be a lot of sudden, shocking changes. So a lot of astrologers describe this as everything is up for reinvention. Everything is going to spin into a different place. So really, really interesting. So I'm going to say hello to a couple of more folks. I have Cheryl on and Ann on. Hey, Ann, big hugs to you too. Haven't seen you in a while on here. Sherry Miranda's on. Kim Murray's on. Hi, Kim. How are you doing? So this is really an energy that everything is up for reinvention. Now, it's also going to be, depending on your chart, what house it's in will be really the most amplified energy of where it's reinvented. For me, it's still in the 6th house, which is my everyday life. And I've been going to this podcast school and putting together a home studio and doing all kinds of different things in both my real estate career and my career here in Zenkuda, and really changing the way I communicate and doing all things, because the 6th house is everyday living. But it's going to go into my 7th house, which is relationships. So I'm looking forward to some awakening with that. So the current backdrop, before we get into the Uranian energy, I want to tell you right now we've got an Aries stellium, which means it's more than 3 to 4 planets in a sign. It's called a stellium. So think of Aries energy. We talked about that a lot on the show. Aries is that fire. It's impulsive. It's spontaneous. It's the god of war. It's also new emerging energy. It's where am I taking up space? Where do I want to be seen? Aries now has 4 planets or 5 planets left in it. So think of a crowded elevator with 5 different planets representing different things, all in a crowded Aries type of energy elevator. Every one of them is impulsive, wants to be seen, wants to be heard. They want to take up their space, etc. That's what these planets are all doing in there. So we've got Saturn and Neptune in there, Chiron in there. I think Mars is still in there. So what we want to do is remember that while we have all that Aryan fire, it's driving us forward. Now we've got Uranus going into this electrical area of the chart. So it's like kaboom. That's why everything's up for reinvention. It's like dynamite. We can use it to create new things, or we can use it for destruction. Whatever your psyche is the way it's going to be. But I'm going to tell you, in an energy like this, we've got so many planets moving around in fire signs and stuff, that this is an energy where your chickens come home to roost. All the unprocessed crap within you is coming out. So do it with love. So that Aries stellium also is playing with Aquarian energy, which is air. Aquarius is not water. Aquarius is air. Pluto is in Aquarius. Pluto is going to go retrograde this month in May. So what that means is, between the Aries energy and the Pluto energy, it creates a tension or a energy of collective awakening, because Aquarian energy is new pioneering spirit. With Pluto there, it's going to bring stuff up from the depths, like, what do I really always want to be? I always wanted to do this thing. That's what's going to be with Pluto in Aquarius. It's also going to be embracing a lot of our uniqueness. Like, maybe you always wanted to be a purple dinosaur, and now you're going to go buy a costume. It's technological revolutions, because that's the Aquarian energy. And with the Aries fire, it's bringing it all forward in a big way. You see, AI is going to go off the charts, the inventions that is going to happen. new social structures. But the way that Aquarian energy, where Pluto is now, is going to make this happen is through decentralization. And we've talked about that a lot way back when Pluto went into Aquarius last year. What is decentralization? Anything that is a unit, Aquarian energy will break apart. Now, why is this so significant and why am I talking about Pluto in Aquarius? Because Uranus, the planet that just went into an air sign, rules Aquarius, where Pluto is in another air sign. So now it's like air, it's light, it's fluffy, it's refreshing. But we have all this fire in the sky with Aries energy. So what does air and fire do? It ignites. Air feeds fire. So the Aries energy is feeding the Uranian collective awakening, the decentralization of anything that no longer fits our new perceptions, our future, whatever we can't bring into the future is going to become decentralized, broken apart. Unlike Pisces energy, where everything was for the last few years, it like slowly decayed things, it dissolved things. Now, with all this Aquarian and Uranian energy in, this is things being completely broken apart, like suddenly. It is, the dynamite shards, the shards that the dynamite causes. So this is why it's radical. It's radical shifts in communication. It's radical shifts in communities. It's radical shift in our belief systems. It's radical shifts in technology. And when I say radical, I don't mean bad. I mean that it's good because there's a lot of stuff that needs to go away and be broken apart, right? So this is the era of the people versus the system. The systems that don't work anymore. I'm talking about the systems that, were ruled by very archaic things that can no longer function in the future. Those things are going to be broken apart. Uranus in Gemini amplifies the voice of the collective. In your chart, it will also amplify communication and your voice wherever it is. So it's going to amplify my voice in relationship. It's going to amplify and awaken my belief system in relationship. So collective themes for 2026 to 2033, 2026 to 2033. Shocking disruptions and societal shifts. They will be shocking, but shocking doesn't mean bad all the time. Shocking can be something that, shocks our system. Remember, this is a lot about our nervous system. You're going to have anxiety, things like that running really high, but then there's ways that you can ground yourself. But as much as this is a shock to the system and can be sudden shocks, it can also mean we're shocked something that no longer worked finally went away and something really great can be created in its place. Because Aquarius and Pluto in Aquarius is going to give us the power to create anew. So it's the reinvention of education systems, communication systems, the ideals that are now very entrenched in sometimes overzealous. We're going to see people's ideals become polarized, even more so, but maybe in a softer, more awakened way. So this can be very great energy, but it's not comfortable energy. Tech breakthroughs and digital rewiring. We're going to be rewired. Our nervous system is going to be rewired. But remember, as uncomfortable as it is, Uranus as the Great Awakener does it to bring us into our full potential. So in the long run, it's good. You're going to have new forms of transportation, mobility. And also this can really heighten information overload. We can feel overwhelmed in this energy. So it's very important to ground, have a spiritual ritual. This is a time to stay adaptable, curious, and grounded. I've been taking my nature walks every day. I've been trying to do more meditation, listening to beautiful music, whatever grounds you. Maybe playing tennis grounds you or swimming or whatever. You have to make that a real ritual in your life because we need to worship the things that are good for us. And what happens is whatever we think about all the time is something that we're worshiping. So think about what you're worshiping. Are you worshiping doom scrolling and you keep having to wake up every day and look at the news? Something that you give your attention to time and time and time and time again is what you are worshiping in your life because you're giving it a high priority, a dedication, and you're using your discipline that could be used for good to worship something that's not bringing you to your full potential. Not everything deserves your full attention. So make sure in an energy like this for the next 7 years that you're developing habits where the things you're worshiping are because they're really bringing you to an enlightenment, an evolution, and a full potential. So now, let us, yes, exactly. Kim Murray just commented, current of Riptide spiral. So now let's go to the signs of the zodiac in the chart and where this is going to show up in your chart, where Uranus in Gemini is going to be for you. And then at the end of the show, I'm going to give you a affirmation to get us through. So Aries rising, okay? Aries sun or Aries rising. This is going to bring surprising shifts in learning, teaching, communication, and relationships with siblings and neighbors. This is new ideas, spark major life changes. For Aries, this is kind of, you might feel like you're being rewired. And at first it may feel like you're, what is the word I'm looking for? Rebelling. You know, it could feel like that. Uranus in the beginning stages of Gemini, the energy can be overwhelming for all of us. And we may all feel like there's like a revolution going on in our lives, or we're being a little bit of a rebel. But themes for you, Aries, are be like a total reinvention of how you speak, or if you teach or write, or how you share your message. Even if that's, you know, not something in a public forum, but something you do in your personal life, even just speaking to friends a certain way. It's a great time to learn new skills over the next 7 years, bring new frameworks, and also this is going to be very much on your nervous system. So again, for Aries especially, you're going to want to really have, like I say, a ritual. Movement of the body is very important for Aries, that fire sign, because you want to move the energy. So Sherry just asked, is this your sun or ascendant? I find personally, whenever I look anywhere to see how an energy is going to affect me, the rising sign is usually what you want to look at. But in this instance, it could be your rising or where your sun sign is. If you don't know your rising sign, either way, if you have an Aries sun or an Aries rising, this is going to be your theme. It's going to be bringing in communication changes. Your mind will become a portal of awakening, because this is really going to be all about the way you think, your mind, your communication. And also Uranus in this part of your chart, Aries, will help you to trust your instincts. It will speak your truth to you and liberate you as far as your voice goes, from your old conditioning, your old ways. You know, if you were somebody who was like afraid to speak up, it's going to liberate you from that. If you are someone who doesn't speak up enough, it's going to help that. But if you're someone who speaks up too much and you're too loud and you're boisterous, it's probably going to change that for you to be a little bit more quieter. Pluto in Aquarius is going to do the same thing in your networks and your communities. It's going to shift the way that you think. So if you are a Taurus rising or a Taurus sun, this is going to be financial and self-worth. This is going to be all about those ideas of preservation, what is going to be reinvented for you, your values and resources. Like, what are your personal resources and where are the resources that I rely on in my own home or in my own being? This is about where are your resources, maybe some new income streams might be coming to you. Very much this is a financial focus for our Taurus sun and rising. And if you find that you have been, you know, a little lean and maybe you need money or things like that, in this energy, it can open up more avenues of finances for you. Like I said, new income streams. It can reinvent how you earn money and also the way you respect money. If you're someone who's been a spendthrift or not really been respectful of money, this will create an energy where you are forced to really understand the value of a dollar. You're learning to trust your ability to generate abundance in new, unconventional ways. And that abundance doesn't just have to be money and the dollars. It could also be abundance of emotion and feeling. Gemini rising, this is identity. This is a full identity reboot. If this is happening in your first house, which it would be if you're a rising, this is like Uranus electrifies your self-expression. This is a reinvention of your personality, your self-expression. It's almost like, you know, you've been dressing in high collars and Argyle sweaters, and now you're going to wear lowriders and rock t-shirts and get tattoos, you know, or the opposite. You complete self-expression difference, sudden changes in relationships. You just want freedom. You are looking to break free from any old version of yourself, put a whole new version on. I remember when I got divorced, my whole closet looked like, you know, Vineyard and Vines, Yacht Club. You know, I used to like wear the cardigans and the sweater around my neck and the collared shirts and a lot of pink and Lily Pulitzer dresses and things. And when I got divorced, I actually gave everything to Goodwill, and I was like bell bottoms, rock t-shirts, leather belts with studs. I went and got a tattoo. I wore black leather a lot. I just was me, and I was just more edgy. My pendulum swung that way, but I had something that was going, I had a transit going on in my rising sign, actually Uranus. And it just made me like become my real authentic self. And that's who I always was supposed to be. And I remember I always tell the story. I was going down Long Island Expressway on the back of some guy's Harley, which never would have happened like before. And I turned to my right, and there was a woman in a black BMW sedan wearing a business suit with a blonde bob and glasses. And it was me. Like, it literally was like a time warp where the universe let me see myself. Only I was on the back of a Harley with a really cute guy having time in my life. And I mean, the girl was driving the same car I used to drive, wearing my clothes. It was like, for a minute, I thought I was like going into an altered reality, speeding like 70 miles an hour down the highway. And it was an amazing feeling. And I loved it. And it taught me life is meant to be lived. So if you're a Gemini and this is happening to your sign, or you're a Gemini rising, go out there and live. Your soul lesson is becoming someone you have never been before. And it's liberating, and love every minute of it. Cancer rising. For you, this is deep subconscious awakening. This is unexpected endings, spiritual breakthroughs, karma clearing, and also service becomes very stabilizing. You're going to want to find yourself wanting to do something for the world, whether that's rolling up your sleeves and going to a soup kitchen, or, doing something for your kid or whatever. You're going to want to put yourself in service, Cancers. This is real spiritual awakening. It's subconscious clearing, like I said. It's karmic release. This is like, you just bust out and you're like, the truth just comes. It removes a lot of old patterns. It's going to shake loose old patterns, and anything that's been hidden and has been blocking you from really being you, just falls away, is going to get decentralized in this energy. If you are a Leo rising or sun, this is major shifts in friendships and communities. Long-term vision. It's not like the little friendships, like I have people at the podcast school I go to, and they're really nice. And I know them through the podcast school, and maybe I'll know them for a little while, but I don't think they'll be lifelong friends. But this is about, like, for Leos, this is about new communities, new dreams, new society, new social identity. It's long-term vision, like where you really want to take up space, where you really want to be, and what your truth is in the long term. And this is, you're aligning with people who finally match your frequency, not your history. It's like, oh, because I grew up here, I have to associate with this posse. No, now it becomes new places where you go, new groups of people, new things, unexpected opportunities through groups and collaborations. And you start to really feel like, oh, I've found my people. That's for Cancer. For Leo. Virgo is about career plot twists for my Virgos and Virgo risings. This is going to be, you go into work and you think you're getting a promotion, and they say, hey, we're eliminating your position. Or you go into work and you think they're eliminating your position and you get a big promotion. It's about liberating you from a place you're not supposed to be anyway. You're going to find yourself being reinvented, your public identity, the way that you're seen, the leadership roles you play, your long-term goals. Suddenly opportunities come, but they're not without what's current and what the status quo is being completely decentralized and just breaking apart. And it may be, a little bit of time when you're in the dip and you're like, oh my God, how did this happen? I don't know where I'm going. Where have I been taken to? But then something happens where you're like, wow, now I get it. It was taken away. It was broken apart because I'm really supposed to be here. And this is great. So keep the faith, stay true to yourself. It's all coming. Libra, expansive shifts in belief systems, in travel, in education, in your worldview. This is a 7-year spiritual and intellectual awakening for you, my Libras and Libra risings. You're going to be expanding your minds, your belief, your life path. It is about Uranus moving through your 9th house, if you're a Libra rising, and shaking up your worldview to a point where whatever your perspectives are now, they're going to be completely changed by 2034. Take your new studies, take certifications, learn things, travel, relocate, a shift in your beliefs or philosophy is going to happen through your experiences with these things. Your truth is evolving, and so is your destiny, my beautiful Libra risings. So for Scorpio, your theme is deep awakening, but transformation in intimacy, shared resources. This is your 8th house if you're a Scorpio rising. So this is about breaking patterns that have prevented your healing and going into empowerment for healing. So if you're a Scorpio rising, think about things that are transforming in very deeply psychological ways. This is changes not only in shared financing, but also can be sexual awakenings and relational transformations, like maybe you finally realize your own sexuality, or you've been playing a role that maybe wasn't yours, really releasing a lot of old fears and power dynamics for my Scorpios. This is sudden endings that lead to rebirth in the areas of intimacy and relationships. So if you're a Scorpio or Scorpio rising, you are reclaiming your power by letting go of what once controlled you. A perfect example is like maybe you own a podcast studio and it was a lot of pressure and you felt stuck, or you felt like it was running you, and now you took control and you're running it and you are a boss. I think I know somebody like that. So Sagittarius rising, relationships undergo reinvention. This is all about relationships. I am a Sag rising, and I can tell you I'm kind of fastening my seatbelt. Please, please, God, to make it be gentle. So for my Saggies, this is your relationships, new partnerships, unexpected shifts, and liberation from outdated dynamics. And I am so ready for that. Okay. If it doesn't feel good, I don't want to do it. So for my Sagittarius risings, this is definitely a soul lesson in you're learning to love without losing yourself, right? We can have relationships, but we don't have to be entangled in people's complexities, right? Gemini, Uranus is complexity and duality and multiplicity. So learn to love, for my Saggies out there. You know, we like to paint with a big brush. We're like, we want to love, right? We want to do it in a big way. And in this energy, we can do that without giving ourselves away, right? Love yourself that much. Unconventional relationship structures. You might travel and meet somebody on a foreign person. It's very unconventional. And it's breakthroughs in how you relate. You know, for me, that means honesty. Honesty is purification. I talk about that a lot. For my Capricorns, this is your daily routines, health, work life will be disrupted and reinvented. Do not fear, do not get upset when your daily routine starts to really be broken apart, when things really, come into a different place. Allow it. The best way to work with Uranus and Aquarian energy and Gemini energy, Pluto and Aquarius, is to surrender. Let Uranus drive the car. Get in the back seat and trust that you're going to go someplace beautiful. The road's going to be really bumpy. There'll be potholes, 90 degrees. The air conditioning is not going to work, 40 below, and the heat's not going to work. But just stay in the car and know that Uranus is driving you home to your full potential, and let it do it. The more you resist and the more you push back on these things that we're talking about, depending on where it is in your chart, the worse it will be. If you want it gentle, if you want the reinvention gentle, do what the universe is telling you to do and showing you to do. So for my Capricorns, that is new work methods, tech upgrades, changes in coworkers or job structures, right? Capricorns can be very set in their ways. This is the time you need to learn the new stuff, because the universe is moving. Don't be running along. Be in stride with it. And a desire for more freedom in your schedule. If it's running you, it's not good. You run your schedule, all right? Your soul lesson is your body and your daily life are asking for liberation. Take control, especially the physical body, okay? Aquarius. This is creative breakthroughs with romantic plot twists and new forms of self-expression. Uranus is going to activate the part of your chart that's joy and playful and childlike. And it's beautiful in that energy because it's also going to awaken the creativity through that. So for my Aquariuses, remember that this is moving through your 5th house if you're a rising. Electrical creativity, pleasure seeking, and self-expression. Let yourself roll around in the flower garden. Let yourself get Play-Doh, play in the mud, go for the bike ride, eat the crazy food, eat the apple and let it drip down your chin. Whatever it is, be that way, because this can make you have sudden inspiration. And also it can bring you new romantic dynamics because you're allowing that beautiful inner playfulness, that intimacy that you have with the world come through, and it'll help you relate to everything. And then finally, the last sign in the zodiac is my Pisces people. By the way, your soul lesson for my Aquariuses is joy becomes your rebellion. Joy becomes your rebellion. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to eat this ice cream cone and I am going to enjoy every minute. I don't care what's going on in the world. I can only tell you, I can explain to you exactly what I'm talking about, Aquarius. Creativity becomes your liberation. I went on a sabbatical the summer of 2015, self-imposed. And I sold a business and I decided I wasn't going to work. And I took 3 months and I went to the beach and I drove around in a beautiful sports car with the top down and I took long walks along the ocean and I backpacked it all around Fire Island and I'd stop and I'd eat pizza and then I'd get hungry again and I'd eat an ice cream and I would the old me would have been like, you can't have pizza and ice cream on the same day. What's wrong with you? And I would just relish it and love it. And I was so happy. I literally remember walking down the beach and people would come up to me and be like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. You seem so happy, because that was the energy. So for my Aquarians, let the joy be your rebellion. Pisces rising, your theme is home, family, and emotional foundation. It's your fourth house. Aries is all going through my fourth house now, so I totally get what you're going through. This is going to shake up your home, your family. It could be a physical move where you move from one house to another, people coming and going in your house, renovations, changing in living situations, especially if you're a Pisces rising, shifts in family dynamics, emotional breakthroughs, a desire for freedom in your home life. Maybe you want to downsize. Maybe you finally want to get the mansion. Whatever it is, you are building a new foundation, one that supports who you're becoming. Remember, this is all about our full potential for authenticity of who we really are. Whatever house it's coming in for you, that's what it's about. So when we go through these changes, like I said, the best thing we can do is really surrender. And here's your affirmation for the Uranus and Gemini era, which is going to be until 2034. I open my mind to new possibilities. I release outdated stories. I trust the awakening unfolding within me. So let Uranus drive your car, babes. It's going to be good, I promise. I've been through quite a few Uranus transits, especially in the past year. And I don't know, I learned to make friends with Uranus, the sudden shocking awakener. So you guys can too. So if you want a personal reading, you're going to find that on zenkuda.com. And I'm going to say goodbye to a couple of people on here. Thank you so much, Sarah and Joanne and Trisha and Cheryl and Anne and Sherry and Kim. And if I forgot anybody, please forgive me. And you know where to find me on Instagram. I forgot what I was talking about. Thank you, Gemini. I got 7 years of this. Instagram, I am Zenkuda Official. On Facebook, it's Zenkuda Soul Space. And of course, book that reading on zenkuda.com because we've got 7 years of this and you need to know where you're going. I am Georgia Rose, your psychic astrologer. Have a good night.